which we built, setting the scene, the morning is through. Trains on tracks, engines roar, steam whistle blowing, always want more. Building dreams one module at a time. Morning with Klawndyke, everything's fine. Morning with Klawndyke, everything's fine. Layouts sprawling, stories to unfold. Metal giants, new and old. Scale detail, G-scale night, steam whistle echoes through the morning light. Trains on tracks, engines roar, steam whistle blowing, always want more. Building dreams one module at a time. Morning with Klawndyke, everything's fine. Layouts sprawling, stories to unfold. Metal giants, new and old. Scale detail, G-scale night, steam whistle echoes through the morning light. Trains on tracks, engines roar, steam whistle blowing, always want more. Building dreams one module at a time. Morning with Klawndyke, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Morning with Klawndyke, everything's fine.
Doing well. Thanks for having me. Well, I have to start off by saying that, and you can call me a bamboo fanboy if you want to, but I have to say that the Bamboo Labs P1S printer combo that I recently purchased really made all this possible, because I had been wanting to do a, you know, 1 to 48 scale model of this building for, I don't know, probably a couple of years. And I thought I was going to do it after I got my OhmTech 80-watt laser. But I just wasn't happy with some of the stuff I did. You can engrave the little brick mortar lines and stuff like that. And you can paint it red, and you can then take some spackling and rub over those engravings and get the brick effect. But it just wasn't, the wood, when you tried to use quarter-inch wood, it just wasn't the right scale. Just didn't work, didn't look right. And if you tried to use the thinner wood, then you had to deal with the warping and all of that stuff. So I bought this P1S combo from Bamboo Lab just because I wanted one, and I wasn't sure that it was going to work with this project or not. But I did a couple of test pieces, and when I ran my first little test, and Sean, you and I've talked about this. I remember when I first looked at it, I thought, "Holy, this project is back on. This is going to work." So I just now that picture right there, if you want to freeze that for a sec, that is the school building as I remember it. The part on the right, those four doors, that's the gymnasium part and some extra classrooms that were added on in 1928. The original building was built in 1908, and I think you have a picture of that. Well, that's kind of it. You can still see the roof line of the gym in the back, but um, so far I've got the main part of the building pretty much done, and I'm starting to work. I've done the gymnasium entrance, but I haven't done the other larger parts, and it turned out pretty well, I think. And again, for those who don't know, this is a little school in New Winchester, Indiana, where I grew up, and it was torn down. You know, it was in pretty bad shape. Like I said, it was built in 1908. Had, Indiana has some rough winters, and a lot of the mortar stuff in the brick. I remember as you know a second grader, I'd go into the gym when it was raining outside and too wet to play outside in the mud. We'd go in there for recess, and there was a certain spot in the gym where you could go to the corner and push on a brick, and it would fall out the other side. So the uh, the building was, probably needed to be torn down, but I hated it, and I've been wanting to model this for a long time. So anyway, the Bamboo Labs printer that I recently got uh, really made all this possible. Yeah, they've kind of turned that property. It's approximately 5 acres is what the school set on, and I played my first 3 years of Pee Wee Little League at a ball ball field just down the hill from the school building. Used to go watch the older kids play Babe Ruth baseball. They had another thing, and when they'd foul the ball over the backstop, all us little kids would go running looking through the corn because there was cornfields behind it. So we had to go find the ball for in the rows of corn. But yeah, the school, like I said, it was torn down in I think it was 1968, and all that's left is kind of a little, I don't know, they've got some picnic tables and stuff. They've kind of turned it into a park. But if you look close and you know where to look, you can see the foundation of the school. And even if you go to, and this is where I got some of my measurements from, if you go to Google Maps and look at the satellite view, and again, you'd have to know what you're looking at. Uh, but you can use the measurement tool in Google Maps and kind of measure the outside of the foundation, and that's how I kind of got started with some basic measurements for the building, and then everything else. Like I said, the building's gone, so I've just got old yearbooks, uh, and I asked friends on Facebook if they had any old pictures. Because a lot of times they'd send me a picture of where somebody's taking a picture of somebody standing, standing, but I'm not paying attention to them. I'm looking at the building behind them, trying to get the details, the windows, estimating the size, and all of that stuff. So the thing about it is, since the building's gone and there's no blueprints available, because I did try to get those from the Hendricks County Planning Department, they said they wouldn't have anything going back any farther than about 1970. So the good thing is, even if my measurements are way off, nobody will be able to prove it that, that I'm wrong. So yeah, nobody can say, "Hey, window's supposed to be 40 inches and not 42." Like, no, you can't. I tried. I tried. I contacted the Hendricks County, and this is in Indiana, Hendricks County Planning and Building Department, and asked about. I said, "Hey, here's what I'm trying to do. Would there be any old blueprints in the archive somewhere?" And she said, "No, that unfortunately all that would have been cleaned out long ago, and they'd only go back to about 1970 or so." So, and this building, like I said, this building was built in 1908, so there's probably was a lot less red tape to build a school building than there is today.
Well, yeah, the biggest thing today is technology too, as what we have available. We have printers, we have lasers, and CNC robots. Now, both you and I, we have a bunch of machines. Mine's also a business, and you've even manufactured and built, designed your own machines, which I find extremely. Um, but it's nowadays, I notice the prices are coming down and more affordable for the average user. So like, things like just a couple $100. You can get a 3D printer, even looking at like Blender, what is it, 3D Pro, last name. That is
Yeah,
just as fast as this piece right here. This is my future, by the way.
yeah.
Um,
By the way, thank you, train guy.
pardon.
I'm thanking train guy in Pennsylvania because it looks like
Oh,
I put a comment. Somebody put a comment up there. So,
well, it's so good. Yeah, it's so cool. Now, you yourself, you're not into um, trains per se, but you are into dioramas.
well, I really wouldn't say I'm into dioramas because I haven't really got started good yet. This school building is the first thing I've wanted to model. But then since it turned out pretty good, I'm like, okay, now I'll move on to the next phase and do the gymnasium part. And then I'm like, well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well, lay out the sidewalk and the street the bus used to go in. There used to be a turnaround. You go around behind the gym and come back and drop the kids off right there at that one of those, the north side door. And then I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well do the I might as well do the whole 5 acre thing. But now we're talking a huge, huge diorama type thing, and I haven't done a diorama, so that'll all be a fun new learning curve for me how to do the grass and create the sidewalks and all that kind of stuff. But there's about a gazillion videos, either train type videos where they're doing the scenery or the what's the other stuff, the Dungeons and Dragons type stuff where they're making terrain and stuff. So there's tons of different videos out there on YouTube to watch to learn how to do that. So
And that's what I find really cool is you don't have to focus strictly on trains. You can look at other places for inspiration.
yeah, I mean, all you have to do is go to YouTube and put how do you make fake grass or whatever, and you might see videos that pop up that are train guys doing their dioramas, and they have those little, they have, I don't know what that thing is called exactly, but somebody in the chat may know, but it's the little static thing where they take the grass and it makes it stick up. And I'm just amazed at that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff to figure out how to do that, how to make the trees and the bushes and just everything.
And I love the idea of being able to just go to other venues and get some really good ideas. That's, I'm kind of lost for words right now. Oh, there's your. This is just a beautiful girl. Now, what scale is this?
That was when I was doing the glue up, trying to make everything fit together. You can see those little gray pieces at the top. Those are like little 3D L brackets that kind of help hold the top of it together. And it's all kind of reinforced with just some white. I printed some angles pieces and some just flat strip pieces out of white PLA that I used to glue up the seams. And I figured that way there's a good shot of one of the angles. But I figured if I had any gap, if anything separated and I didn't catch it and the glue, I had a gap, at least the white behind it, when you look at it, it would look like it's just the mortar stuff. So, but yeah, those little clips. There was just too many. And these pieces, by the way, the walls that you're looking at there, I don't even have any in here. I thought I might have an old reject in here somewhere. Oh wait a minute. I guess I don't. Oh wait. Okay, so here is one of the sections, and there you go. And you can see when I turn this sideways, it's super thin. And one thing that I'll try to hold that still where you can see the brick texture. But one thing that I'm kind of particular about, and I don't really know why, it doesn't really make any difference. But when I did this, I knew that I was going to do a 1 to 48 scale, and I wanted the bricks to be the true 48 scale. So, I mean, I don't know if you can even see that when I hold that up there right, but
You can see the edge. Do you have that
these
one
these
border?
bricks, even at 1 to 48 scale, there's a better shot of it. That's my little test pieces.
There we
You know, they're small. And I've actually tried to run this same kind of test doing a smaller scale, like for HO scale,
go. Mhm.
and it just doesn't look right. But one thing that's always kind of bugged me is when I see and I'm not going to pick on train guys because I know there's probably a bunch of train guys in the chat here. But one thing that I've always, it's always kind of got me is like when you see they're doing like the maybe N scale or HO scale or something, and they'll have a building, and then they have the little guy, the engineer, train guy, or the guys doing the switches or whatever, and they have him standing next to the building, and I'm like, all right, the brick on that building doesn't look right because it's way too big. It's as big as that guy's leg. So it's
Looks more
not
like
really
some
the right
flat.
scale, but I guess that's how they kind of fudge it a little bit to get a brick pattern that looks like brick, but yet it's not really to scale. And with this, I did it where it's to the right scale, and I don't really see how anybody could get it much smaller than this without losing the detail. It'd be easy to go bigger, but I don't know how you would get it to
Yeah, with
go any
the smaller
smaller.
ones, even I've noticed it's easier to exaggerate just a little bit so it pops out. And now, real quick, sorry to interrupt.
By the way, Sean, I'm having trouble hearing you. I mean, I can hear you, but I don't know that thing's
What's
even working.
that? What are these called? In
Same process.
right, not like in the should I go into your audio?
Give me 1 second for you to try something. Oh, how about now?
I'm not getting anything up here on the
It's
audio. It's
almost
just
like a different mic's picking up your
Yeah, I
sound.
think we actually have to switch here. Oh, I'm on this side. Give me 1 second. Let's see.
can you
Okay,
mess
it
with the
looks
mic
it
setting here?
looks like I'm going to be watching Train Guy in PA for
Oh,
some scenery tips.
there we go.
Yeah, see, I can hold that one up online.
Okay, right now it's any better?
Yeah, I don't think that mic's
I'm
picking
still
it.
not catching anything up here.
Is your mic on or off?
My mic for what? This one?
It's barely doing anything. And the only reason I said something is because I saw some people in the chat mentioning that you're. There you go, bingo. Yeah, yeah, you sounded good now. That's the most fun part about live streams. You get to fix technical difficulties on the fly. Well, you know, you can watch uh, anchors on the news, and even those guys and gals mess up from time to time, and you think they got a whole crew running stuff. You don't have that with a live stream, so it is what it is. I Yeah, I can hear you pretty good.
Like I think if I unmute this, I think they might be able to hear you, but it's picking up from something over here.
Okay, one second. What I have on the feedback. Uh, and that was interesting.
Right, but if I
I can. Hmm. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you pretty good now, and I'm sure that what I'm hearing is from the mic you've got on your shirt there. Uh, Test 1 2 3. So I guess I'm the only one that can hear you, Sean. Okay.
Yep, there you go. How about now?
Now you sound awesome.
Oh,
Did you plug it in? Was it not plugged in?
how about now? Okay, a little feedback. All right, guys, can you hear me now? Can YouTube hear me now? We are golden back Awesome. I apologize about that, guys. It's again, this is the first time we've had a guest on the show, and of course, it's going to be the first time we're going to have problems. It never fails. Is that Murphy's Law? Okay.
It's all good.
What is? No, I'm just trying to figure out a couple other things here. All right, where were we? My apologies. We can throw up a vid real quick. I've got a couple of videos, kind of the same as what we do with at Ryan's. We're going to throw a train work up and try to get a couple more things figured out here. And this one here is by train work. See, and I've got a big screen or check this out, Andrew. It says, Andrew, say something, and it's stuck on the screen. Interesting.
I don't know what.
I know. Oh, where is he? Oh, I got it. There we go. We're clear. All right. We're going to go to the next one, which is the Des Moines Transfer Railway Company. I would like to know more about this individual because he models everything in my area. Actually, I live in Des Moines. You can pull both of us back up on the bottom. That works. I know you're not the train person, but the buildings and everything in the back, I figured kind of interest you.
Oh yeah, I love seeing stuff like this because these train guys do such a good job at making it look so realistic. When like this, you like, is that a scale model train or is that the real town somewhere?
That's some beautiful work. See, and I'm just beginning. I'm not going to lie. This is my first year back into railroading. I started back in '89. I actually had a small N-gauge layout. Then I took a hiatus, and then last year just started getting back into it. Originally, I was going to do HO. Now you're doing everything in O scale, but you have this huge backyard. There is G scale, right?
Yeah, I have so many hobbies though, and I just I've been trying to, every time I watch one of these train videos, I start thinking, I could probably do that, but I really try to. I really enjoy modeling the buildings and stuff, and I will continue doing that. I've got a bunch of buildings and things that aren't around anymore that are kind of on my list to do. Um, so I don't know that I would have time to do the train thing too.
Okay, we're having a little fun here. Dave Smith, can I start over? That's the one thing about live, Dave. You get it is what it is. And that's actually the fun part of this, to be honest.
So
Now-
some of the cool stuff about this, Des Moines, I've been following this guy for quite a while now, and some of the cool stuff about the Des Moines Transfer Railway guy, he actually runs prototypical op sessions.
Okay.
I think by himself. I'm not sure if he has club members come help him or whatever, but he's got a lot of videos of doing op sessions on his YouTube, and it's the level of detail and the level of accuracy he has to the area for this time period is absolutely insane.
I want to see that in pastry or in person. I'm getting echo. I am going to have to say thank you so much, Dave, for being our guinea pig.
No problem.
Um, let's get to real quick, like bringing in 3D printers and again, like the diode lasers, because we're looking at for under $200, you can get a decent printer nowadays, correct?
Hmm.
And then how can I put it? The learning curve on a printer itself is now I feel isn't that long because it's pretty much like this one here. I set it up and literally sent a print to it after I clean the bed, of course. And this is the first medium size print that I've done. It's still stuck on the bed. And then we have the diode lasers. Um, what's a good average watt laser in your eyes to do like 1/8 inch or cardstock? That would be affordable for, like, let's say the average hobbyist.
Well, it doesn't take much at all to do cardstock, and even the 1/8 inch plywood or wood, whatever you want to call it. Um, I think you could easily do those with a 10 watt or maybe even less.
So that makes it nice. And then now you
And
do a
all,
show. Now are you doing a show this evening?
I'm still debating on whether to do it because the Sugar Bowl starts
Oh,
shortly after that, and that's
did,
not that
did,
I'm not a Georgia fan, so
I didn't mean to
uh,
put you on the spot for that one.
yeah. So I don't know. I'm still kind of throwing it around, but I might, if I do one, it'll probably be a short one.
Okay. There's actually a link down below to Dave's channel, and this is like the third part of, we talked about printers and lasers. Now we're getting into the hobbyist CNC routers, and Dave does a live show every Wednesday evening, and it's pretty much Q&As. One thing I always say, if you have a question about routers, and with Dave's knowledge, it doesn't have to be routers; it can be lasers and also printers. But you can go on Dave's show Wednesdays or Wednesday evenings, and it's a Q&A. And that's the coolest thing. So if you have a question, you can ask it right then and there and get a response relatively quickly.
Yeah, and one thing I've always liked to do is, so many times when you watch these live streams or podcasts or whatever you call them, and they'll
Mhm.
have people on there talking about stuff, but and I do too. I'll talk about stuff, but when you go to my live stream, you'll see right behind me I have an enclosure with two uh, hobby grade CNCs right behind me. So if anybody's got a question about something, rather than just try to explain it how to do it, I can go, well, hold on a second, let me just set this up real quick, and we'll show them how to do it. So
So even for being live, it's more of a hands-on too.
yeah, I try to do demonstrations, and some things it's kind of hard to do because if you're doing a long carve or something, the shows, I'm only going to be on there an hour or so. So
Mhm.
I'll try to run a lot of it when I'm not live, but most of the time I try to save, a good 30 minutes or so they can see it run uh, during the live stream. But any other little small programs that don't take that long to run, if they say, well, how do you do this? Like I said, instead of just telling them, which sometimes it's hard to understand, I can just say, well, here, let me move this camera over here, point it at the machine, and you can see exactly what I'm doing. And I can share screen to show the software and stuff like that, so they can see what I'm clicking and what I'm doing to get the results I get.
So I find that extremely helpful, because here again you get to see it right then and there. Now last week you did was it rotary?
Yeah, I've done the rotary axis the last two or three shows. Showing basically to show people that even if you're new at CNC and you've got one of these little hobbyist machines and you're not, you haven't learned your 3D modeling software yet, stuff like that, you can still make stuff and have fun with it because you can go to places like Thingiverse, uh, what's some of the other ones, Things, and
Mhm.
all these different places where you can get free STL files, and technically they may be stuff that's was designed for 3D printing, but with a little finagling, you can actually make them work with a rotary axis and a CNC. Not every STL file is a good file for CNC that's good for 3D printing. Because if it's got any overhangs and stuff like that, something gets real thin, you're probably going to snap it off when you're trying to cut, because you're using a sharp spinny thing
Right.
trying to cut it instead of adding filament to it. So
So
there
and
is
your
that.
overhangs are different too.
Yeah, so not every 3D printing file is good for CNC, but a lot of them are.
You know, talk about things. Personally, I use like Yegi as a search. It's like a search engine for STLs. But the nice thing with this is it goes along with the 3D printers, and you can find laser files. I found out, like in Thingiverse and other places. But you don't have to have the knowledge to go into a CAD program. You use Design Spark Mechanical,
Mm-hmm.
which is a very powerful tool. Myself, I use Fusion 360. The core is pretty much the same as what they do. You don't have to understand that right away, which I find is really cool. You can go to, be it Thingiverse, and download, like this file here is actually from Thingiverse. Go ahead and pop that one up. So
Oh, cool.
what model is this one? The name on that one. I can put a link down below for this little engine.
RHB22 training for LGB scale.
There we go. And of course, this I'm getting ready for this coming spring and summer, because we're going to be doing a large build at my in-laws' house. And one of my goals is to show that you don't have to go out and buy a brand new item. You can literally 3D print it and then get the basic mechanics for it, be it your trucks or your engine. And it makes it more affordable. And the same with the buildings. You don't have to go out and buy one. You could laser cut one, kind of like the furniture factory that I did at our Garden Railway Club. You can 3D print, or you can literally do one onto the CNC router. So I feel it's bringing all the technologies together for just about any hobby, not just trains, but it could be in the dioramas or in the D&D side.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, have you had the opportunity to play with resin yet?
No, and I probably won't. I have watched some video, because that's kind of the thing now. A lot of guys getting these resin printers, but they just seem like so messy to me. So much stuff you have to do, and rinsing them and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, I love this thing. You just click start, and then when it gets done, you pop it off the bed and you're done.
No worrying about having to clean up or any
Yeah,
of
I
the
don't want to have to fool with chemicals or any of that stuff. I'm too messy to have that kind of technology in my house.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and show. Let's see if we can get a close up of this one. Where are we at camera? This is actually a resin print. Now, on the scale side, I can see where this is great for resin, but it wouldn't be good for FDM. And you are right, though. The one thing about resin is you do have to worry about chemicals. If you get it on your hands, it can burn you. You get the chemical burns. So
That's what turned me off, because one of the first one or two videos I watch, the guys are wearing gloves and a mask, and they're rinsing stuff, and I'm like, all right, that right there is too much work for me. This is just way easier for me.
For what you're doing, yeah, the FDM is perfect.
Now I've seen some guys that when they get done with those and get them rinsed off and all the supports and whatever, all cleaned off and painted up, they look really nice. But I'm just saying, for old Dave, that's That's way too much trouble for what I want to do.
See, and that's the cool part about this. You don't have to go into resin, or you don't have to do a laser. You don't have to do a CNC router, but yet you can still pick and choose on what you want to do for the hobby and the ideas that are in your mind.
Yeah. I was looking over here at my other screen. Do you know what makes for a bad day?
Oh,
Because did you notice it's got quiet? My printer's not running now. I had
oh, that
just
popped in there.
I had just a little bit of black PET G left, and I thought, yeah, there's probably enough on that spool to do this job. Well, there was enough to do 76% of it. And it stopped asking me to refill the thing, and I don't think I have any more of that color. So
Now that is the one thing about FDM printers. If you're not, well, how can I put this without making it sound bad? If you underestimate, is that a good way of putting it?
yeah, I guess so.
On the amount of filament you have. But yeah, do you have any extra PET G?
Oh yeah, I could throw another spool of PET G, but it's not going to be now. If it was just for me, it's fine because I don't really care what color it is. And a lot of times I've done stuff out of PLA, and if I don't have the right color, I run it and then I take it outside and spray it with paint.
Primer.
I can make it whatever color I want. But
It's kind of like this. As I do this, it reminds me of when I was a kid. I used to love putting those models together. You know, you get the cars or the tanks, planes, and they were all either gray or white. So it was like your base. So when I 3D print something like this, it reminds me of the days of going to the store and buying the model. And nowadays we can literally just print it out.
yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
getting back to again, me being a bamboo fanboy, I had never printed anything but PLA. My two little enders back here, that's all I've ever done is PLA. And I'm not a fanboy of any particular brand. I'll get whatever's cheap and use it. But, I've had this bamboo now for a little over 2 months. I think I got it on the 20th of October, according to my calendar. And I've never done anything but PLA. But here, the last couple of days, I thought, well, like if you look at my rack up here, everything I think this way is PET G. From that blue one right there over this way is PET G. And then everything starting with that white one going this way is PLA. Of course, there's a lot of empties because you can see I've used a lot of the PLA up. But anyway, I got ready to do something, and I thought, well, I need to do these in PET G just to make them a little tougher, and mostly to get that the deformation part.
Okay.
If you leave it in a hot car or something, get it to where it's high enough that this would probably work. So I went
Unlike
to do
PLA, where if it gets too warm, it starts sagging.
it starts drooping and stuff like that. And I know about that firsthand. I did a radio bracket in PLA, and it worked great during the wintertime and even spring. But once it's summertime in Georgia, it gets way too hot. And you forget to roll the window down, and it started drooping down. But anyway, so I started to do these in PET G. And again, like I said, I've never done anything but PLA. And it was just a matter of putting the roll in there and telling the app that, hey, this is generic PET G instead of generic PLA. All the stuff, the set, all of it.
All
was
the guesswork is gone.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like I said, I'm talking about bamboo, but I think pretty much all the printer companies are kind of getting on the bandwagon here, and it's now where it's like they got all the stuff figured out for you now. It's much easier than it used to be.
Yes.
You don't have to.
I know when I first got into it, you had to figure out your flow rates and the heat, and
you had to figure out your speed. If this is too fast, you had to match your bed temp with your nozzle temp and the speed, and you could get some settings that somebody might give you, and they might work great for them, but for you, they even with the same printer, it might not work
Yeah,
as well.
very true. This
But
one here, I've
Bamboo's
noticed.
got it figured out with
Yeah,
that.
they
I was
do.
really
I'm
impressed.
I'm impressed with the Elegoo because this is all stock settings, and this one actually printed. Of course, it's not a continuous speed. When they say it's going to be 500 millimeters per second, which I wouldn't even put this at. But this one did print up to 300 because I was watching the speed on the screen and it'd peak at 300 and stay there for a while. And then, of course, when it's doing different transitions, it either speed up or slow down. But the coolest thing is it took all the guesswork out, especially with the new Clipper and the new software. It was pretty much click it and go.
Yeah. To answer Train Guy's
Oh,
question there, he says, do you prime PLA or just paint it the color you want? For me, like if I'm trying to run something out of, say, black PLA and I run out, but I've got white or red or blue or whatever, so I'll run the rest of it out of that, or the other pieces out of that, and I just take it out in the driveway and on a piece of cardboard, get a rattle can and spray it. I don't prime it. I just spray it. Now this is not stuff I'm going to sell. This is stuff that's just for me. And a lot of times it really wouldn't matter if it's different color, but sometimes you just want stuff to match. I did some things where I do my live stream out in the garage, and I've got some things where I can hang cameras and
mhm.
different things. So I made a lot of little bracket type stuff in arms and all that. And like I said, I had it all black, but then if I ran out and had to use gray or something, I'd just take it out and spray paint it black and hang it up there, and you can't tell the difference.
Andrew, grab that helmet. Grab that helmet. It's up there on the wall. No. Yeah, one of those two is fine. Now, one thing I was like on this print, this one Andrew did. This is multicolor. This is PLA. But here, yeah, no paint. And that's just using the standard filaments of two blacks and two different whites, which is turned out really cool.
That was just running out the end of a white and then the end of a black, and then just putting in another white and a black that I had.
A good way on eating up extra filament.
Yeah.
Oh, this is dusty. Now, this print, this is, I don't know how well you can see on the inside. Well, you can't see anything. But as you can see, it's nice and smooth and dusty. But on this one, it's actually, I sanded the PLA. I used, I got a bottle of it right here. It's Bondo. It's the glazing putty. There we go. Oops. So after, roughly sanding it, I'll take the glazing putty and I'll smear it on the helmet and sand that. And then I use a primer on top of that. And then shoot the color that I want to use. And you can't even tell it's a 3D print.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah. There we go. Get the dust off and you can see the shine.
Yeah, that looks really
Grab me
good.
the dust just.
I've never made anything that had to be that pretty. So,
Pardon?
I said I've never made anything that had to be that pretty.
Oh.
Um,
Well,
now I have made some stuff. I did some, I call them dog paw ornaments. It's like a dog paw, and it's got the dog's name and stuff on it. And I did try the ironing feature where it smooths it out on the top, but I just told it to do the top layers only, so because if you do the whole thing or most of the whole thing, it takes forever. But it didn't add too much extra time just doing the top. And that, like you say, you can't see any lines or anything. It's really smooth.
Yeah, we've come a long ways on the technology. The other thing on colors though is like the printer behind you, your Bamboo PS. Is it the P1S?
P1S, yeah.
P1S. That one there, you have multiple colors, so you don't have to paint that model. You can literally set your model up. Say, well, you ran your walls with brick color. correct?
In fact,
then-
it's still in the AMS. There's a one right there in number 3. It's called Red Brick, and it's just from some off-brand company on Amazon. And I think I got another extra roll right there, I think.
Let's pull up Dave's schoolhouse for a second.
But this is this is the color of it right there.
See, it's the color of brick.
Yeah. And then, of course, when you see that's after I've rubbed the spackling in it, which gets in the little grooves. And then you just take kind of a damp sponge or cloth or something and wipe it off. And that picture, that's before I put any spackling on. That's when I was just test fitting all the little detail pieces. That's the main entrance of the school building.
But now the cool part about this is what we're looking at is natural filament without being painted. So your
right.
white
In fact, when if he can pull that picture back up, that was when I was test fitting the steps and the concrete trim and the windows and those little keystones or whatever they call them, the little all that stuff. And in this picture, it's just a white PLA. And then I decided that I needed a little more contrast because the doors and the window trim and stuff is white, but there you can see that's kind of a gray, so it looks more like concrete. And I got some stuff. Actually, it's from the same company that makes the red brick filament, but it's called speckled marble.
Okay.
And you can't really see the speckles in it just from a picture because it doesn't get close enough. But when you're actually, I've got a spare set of steps right here. And I don't know if you could see it, but
so you can literally print something that resembles concrete.
Yeah. And that was my goal. I wanted a little bit of contrast between, I wanted that to look like concrete because that's really what it is. So all those little decorative pieces over above the arch and, all that, I just changed and redid them instead of white and did them in that speckled marble. And then all those little trim strips that go all the way around the building. And I think that really just kind of made it look a lot better.
So theoretically, you don't have to paint a model. You just get the filaments that you like or would resemble a certain color. Let's say if I wanted to do this cabin blue, I can literally just grab blue filament.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. With this AMS, and again, I love my P1S combo, and I love that AMS. But there's two things that I'm not crazy about. One of them is that it's noisy when it's running because the fans are really loud and stuff. But as I told Sean last night, that doesn't really bother me because I usually hit start and then go leave. This thing is so reliable. I don't even wait for it to lay down the first line. I just go, and it always works. But the other thing is, I could have done those walls. I could have put the red brick filament in one, the white in one, and the speckled marble in another one. And I could have modeled that with those trim pieces as one piece and had that thing change it out to swap the colors and all that. But my God, you use a lot of filament. You get so much of that, what they call poop, and I'm like, I get it that it's cool. You can do all that multicolored stuff. But to me, it just doesn't make sense because you'll have more waste than you will actual parts sometime for all the changes that happen. On the floor. Now, when I did my dog paw ornaments,
we're talking about this stuff.
Yeah,
this is the byproduct of doing a colored print.
It's not too bad if you're doing, say you're doing 3 different colors, but you do like a base layer of one color, and then when it gets up to, say, I don't know, layer 10 or whatever, now it changes to this color, and then it goes up another 10 and it changes to the third color. That's not too bad because it's only changing twice to do those 3 colors. But when you're trying to do multicolors and it's all on the same layers, and it has to keep going back and forth and changing because it purges so much and all that. It's like I said, I've had, and I know I'm not the only one, but there's other people that have complained that, hey, this thing's, you end up with more waste than you do print. And who let that guy in here? How do you get? Didn't you have him blocked? Happy
Morning,
New
Ryan.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Ryan.
Right. For the people that don't know, Ryan's also a friend of ours. Matter of fact, Saturday evening, 7:55 Central Time, the real time. Check out our Ballard Designs. Uh, I'll have a link down below, and we hang out and talk about CNC and a lot of the new clips that are out pertaining to be it CNC or lasers or routers and 3D printers. Check it out.
Yeah, that, and also let me rag him a little bit. That's the guy who's probably most responsible for me splurging and buying one of those.
This time you can actually put the fault to somebody else.
Yeah. Well, I'm always getting blamed for people getting into CNC and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
turnabout's fair
I'm
play, I
blaming you.
guess.
I've been, let's see, it's been at least 13 years. You've been on YouTube way longer than that, but when I stumbled across your channel, it's got to be at least 13 years ago.
I just had YouTube sent me the thing. You know how they send you those cheesy notification things, and they sent me a thing the other day, and it was my 16-year anniversary for YouTube. So
Wow. Congrats.
nah, it's not a big. They didn't send me any money or anything. So, but yeah,
That's a cool accomplishment. I mean, this is my first year doing lives. I mean, I played around on YouTube, but this is the first year of actually focusing on it. It's pretty cool. It's been a lot of fun so far. Let's see, where are we at here? We are coming up on the hour mark. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this here. Coming up, we got 3 minutes left.
train guy. He says, I don't know how to pronounce that. Something makes age. Is that a filament you're talking about, train guy, or is that some paint?
Oh, it's a paint.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I just want to make sure he wasn't talking about a filament that's called aged concrete, because I'll have to, if it is, I'll try to get some of that and try it.
Yeah, because that would work for a lot of the concrete without having to paint it.
Yeah. I hate painting. I really do. Unless it's just something I can just shoot the whole thing with a rattle can. I'm not much on paintbrush painting.
Yeah, it's this one here. I'll prime it and paint this one. There's some other ones I'm just going to do straight filament. But yeah, if they came out with a concrete filament that looked like concrete, that would be cool.
Yeah, that speckled marble is about the closest thing I found that I think looked pretty good.
That resembles concrete.
Yeah,
that's cool stuff. Before we end here, you have anything for the audience?
No.
Wait a minute, hold on. Could you grab those for me?
Oh, yeah.
We totally forgot about something. I got a little super glue here. We're going to end this on a fun note.
Oh, you got your, I know what you're going to do, I think. I got mine right here.
Oh, these snap in.
Let me put mine on so I can be cool like you.
Oh, these are fun. Now, I don't know about you guys.
I guess you can see that. Yeah.
I'm at the age where it was, yeah. This is this morning. Happy New Year's, guys. And this was done on both the Bamboo and my Creality. It's one of those, I got everything ready to print, and I was going to print it last night, and I forgot.
Uh,
So it was a rush print and just finished up in time.
well, how long did it take that to print?
35 minutes maybe.
35 minutes right in there.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, well, when I talked to you last night, this took like an hour and 37 minutes, I think. But again, it
So,
had to purge and do that because it's got the red, white, and blue on there.
see, that's pretty good. This is just red and black. So yeah, the more colors you have, the longer it takes then for purge time. Yeah, I'm gonna put these on.
Yeah, train guy says tell Sean to give me airbrush lessons. I've actually bought an airbrush kit. It's probably been 2 years ago, and I've never taken it out of the box. It's still sitting in there. I'm gonna break it out one day. But
See, I've
yeah,
been slowly gathering airbrushing equipment. I've got more than I thought I did, to be honest. Yeah, for the first time, I broke it out a couple weeks ago on the show, a month ago.
yeah, I watched that. Yeah,
Yeah. Now, I am no expert at it by any means. My goal is to show you that even a guy with zero knowledge on it or very little can do it. If I can do it, that means you can do it. Happy New Year's. Well, Happy New Year's. It's a good hobby to get into.
yeah. Ryan's ragging me a little bit there.
I
It said that and a few other items that are still brand new in the box that I've never used.
Shame on you.
I have a serious problem. I buy stuff, and by the time it gets here, especially if you buy it on Amazon and gets here in a day or two, that's not bad. But if you buy it something and it takes more than a week or two, by the time it gets here, I'm already off on something else.
Squirrel, shiny.
Yeah, I am the world's worst at I don't know what do you call it, ADHD or whatever.
Yep. Oh,
Uh,
right here, as you can see.
It's bad. That's why I had the airbrush kit and the DJI drone and stuff and all kinds of stuff. Never used it.
Well, the cool thing now that you've got your diorama going, here's your excuse to break it out and experiment.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely going to. I might use that airbrush thing when I start doing the diorama scenery stuff. That would probably work good. But
Now, real quick, what you figured out the scale of this? What? Excuse me. What size of an area is this going to take?
well, it's going to be big. I just estimating. I'd have to do the mathematics to calculate it all out, but it's probably going to be at least a 4 foot by 4 foot or so thing, because the 5 acres that is the property that school building set on was probably not exactly square. It was probably from the road to the back, probably, I don't know, 5, 6 or so 100 feet, and then probably another 800 feet or so going the other way. So again, I'd have to do the math to figure out how big. Well, let's just I can do it real quick here.
That's going to be a nice sized diorama.
If you take 800 feet times 12 to turn it into inches, that's 9,600 inches. And then if you divide it by 48, which is the scale I'm doing, that's 200 inches. So that's way bigger than 4 by 4. That's 200 inches.
That's a little under 16, a little over 16 feet.
That's the size of your house.
16 foot.
Yes, a little over 16 foot. So, like I said, I probably won't do anything bigger than 4 by 4, whatever I can fit in. I'd love to do the ball fields and stuff as well, but then then you're looking at really, really big. But I'll probably just do the school that you've seen, that building, and then I'll add the gymnasium addition, and then do a little bit of the road and the sidewalk, and then try to do the the yard part, which is basically was a playground. And I remember when I went there, I only went there 2 years, first and second grade, but they had huge trees. And so there really wasn't much grass out around the playground equipment. They had, you guys are probably going to laugh, but back then they had the old metal slides,
Oh yeah,
that gets hotter than Hades. And
and fry an egg
uh,
on it.
yeah, so they had those and seesaws and all the kind of stuff that's outlawed now that you couldn't have. Yeah, those kind of swings where you would, there's a seesaw, and I think right there by that teacher, if you look, it looks like that one's rotted and broken off. Half of it's gone.
Oh,
But and that was even later because you can see how that main entrance they had bricked it up, and I don't know why they did that. That was they did that I think in sometime in the 50s. So, but I wanted to go ahead and do it the way I'm trying to project the building as how it would look, kind of new, I guess.
that is so cool. Now, if people want to follow you and the project on your school, where can they do that?
Okay, the all my little 3D printing stuff that I'm doing and the school stuff that I'm working on is on my kind of oddball channel called Old Guy Printing. I'm not real good at coming up with names for YouTube channels. That's why my main channel is, are you ready for this? Dave Gatton. It was just my name. But I knew if I put a bunch of 3D printing stuff on my other CNC type related stuff that people wouldn't like it. So I just had another channel I wasn't using, changed the name of it, and called it Old Guy Printing. And so if you like the building stuff and want to in 3D printing stuff, you can go to that channel. And if you like the CNC stuff, you can go to Dave Gatton on YouTube, at Dave Gatton, and you'll find me.
Here's your reason to get into resin.
I don't know if your mic is hot or not.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'll probably do that. Try to 3D print some of the slide and some of the things that are going to be challenging when I add the gymnasium. They because this school, unlike other schools they build now, they just build one level and it's extends for acres. Back in those days, they built schools up, which really makes more sense. But they all had to have fire escapes on the outside of them, and so I've got two of those that I need to model and 3D print.
The nice thing is at that scale, it should be a lot easier with an FDM.
Yeah, I hope so. It'll probably be harder to draw than it is to print. So,
well, on that note, Dave's links are down below. You can find them both on Old Guy 3D Printing and Dave Gatton. Keep an eye out. He might have a show tonight. We'll find out.
I always post it on Facebook and
you can find
stuff.
Dave through my Facebook if you're on Facebook. And follow. On that note, thank you so much for coming on, Dave. This has been a learning experience, a rocky but fun start.
Well, thanks for having me. The only reason I didn't have technical issues is I've done live streams for a long time, so I've worked out most of the bugs. Sometimes I still have them, but with this setup, I just come in and sit down, and the mic's right here, and
everything's set.
I've
got it set up for for myself, but this is the first that I've had a guest on, and this is awesome. It's a heck of a learning experience.
Yeah.
To anyone that's been following all the way through, especially through that, thank you for hanging out. Again, check the links down below, and ready for this? Here we go. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. Have a great day, guys, and a good year.